Good morning. We are getting closer to the end of the book, and we have quite a short chapter today, chapter Kafzain. It's only 11 verses, and it's the last stage of the, how do you say, escaping of David. Okay, so David was escaping from one place to another place. This is the last station in his journey. Okay, so last chapter, we saw the last meeting between David and Shaul, when Shaul again said, you are the right, I'm wrong, and regretting, etc., and recognizing in some way or another that David is going to be the king, etc. And they are separate ways. We saw that even after all the words of Shaul, David doesn't trust him. When Shaul told him, come here, he told, send someone here. I will give you your spare again, but you should send someone here. I don't trust you. And this is what we see here in the beginning of chapter 27. It also said, David said to himself, someday I shall certainly perish in the hand of Shaul. So someday my luck will over. Now the question here, David really thinks that one day he's going to die in the end of Shaul. He had a prophecy that he's going to be the king. Shmuel told him. And he saw that until now Hashem kept him. He did things that are almost unnatural, like sneak into the camp of the king in the middle of the night, but all the guards are sleeping. And he saw that Hashem is with him. What does it mean that one day I will perish in the hand of Shaul? The answer is that even if Hashem helping you, you shouldn't trust it, meaning you shouldn't rely on it. There is a sentence that says, "En somchim ala nes." We are not relying on miracles, right? So if his survival depends in constant miracles, they are one after the time and again, so it's better not trust it, not go with it. So that's why I say I'd better run away. The best thing for me is to flee to the land of the Plishtim. Shaul will then give up hunting me throughout the territory of Israel, and I will escape him. Now, we have a question here. The territory of the Plishtim is part of the land of Israel? The answer is yes. So right now, the Plishtim ruling this zone, but it's inside the land of Israel. So what does it mean? Bechol Gvul Israel, throughout the territory of Israel, meaning what is under the control of Shaul. He's not living the land of Israel. We saw last time when he spoke with Shaul, he told him, you caused me to leave the territory of Hashem, which is the land of Israel. That means when he had to escape to Moab. Moab is the other side of the Jordan. This is outside the land of Israel. But the son of the Plishtim is not outside the holiness of the land of Israel, only not under the rule of Am Israel. But another question here, David already tried that. Remember when David went to the Plishtim last time, what's happened? It was in the day when he understood finally that Shaul is going to kill him, that Shaul doesn't want to find any solution, he wants to kill him. And he escaped to the land of the Plishtim in the same day. And he arrived to Achish Melech Gat. We're going to see this guy again here. What happened there? In the beginning he arrived. The king wasn't so against him, maybe he didn't know who it is in the beginning, but then the advisor, the people of the king told him, this is David, the minister of war, defense, of Shaul, right? So you should kill him. This is David that killed Goliath. This is David that leading the war against the Plishtim, and he come here in your hands. And David was in danger of be killed by the king of the Plishtim, not by Shaul. So how could David escape that? By pretending he is crazy. Remember all this story, he pretended he's crazy, and then the king sent him away. What we can learn from that it wasn't such an easy solution to arrive there. The words Vayomer David el libo, David said to himself, David talked with his heart. It may allude to some kind of long questioning, long considerations. He wasn't sure, should I go there, should I go there? But the situation right now is totally different from what we saw last time. Why? For two main reasons. First of all, after so many years, or at least months, we don't know exactly how time, the Tanakh doesn't tell us the time, the exact time. But after so many months that he escaping Shaul, for sure everybody already know. It cannot be a secret anymore. When the first time David escaped, only Shaul and maybe few people around him knew that he has a fight against David. But now everybody know, and so David go here for the strategy of your enemy is my enemy, so I'm your friend. As you said, the enemy of your enemy is your friend, right? The enemy of your enemy is your friend. So David know now that there's more chances that he will be accepted among the Plishtim, the big enemy of Israel. And second, he's not coming alone; he's coming with a little army. We already saw that many people came with David, together with David. He came, we're going to see, with 600 people. So this is a little army. We saw that when Shaul go to a mission of war, he's going with 3,000 people. So it gives you a little bit of idea what is the size of the army in these days. A special unit is 3,000 people. So 600, it's amount. It's not nothing. And they have experience, and they lived in the desert for many years. They are tough. They are knowledgeable in war. So David is not coming alone. And that's what David is doing. So David and 600 men with him went and crossed over. Crossed over what? The border. Crossed over to King Achish, son of Maoch of Gat. So it's the same name of the king. In the last time we saw it was Achish, and also here is Achish. And Ben Maoch, it's the first time it said, it may be the same person, and it may be that Achish is a generic name of the kings of Gad. We saw that in the Bible there are Paro is always the king of Egypt. Avimelech is always the kings of the Plishtim. And there are other names like that. And apparently Achish is the generic name of king of Gat, of the city of Gat, which is one of the cities of the Plishtim. So it's the same person that was the last time. It's the same city of Goliath that David killed. But this time, Vayavor. The last time the Tanakh uses the word Vayvrach, ran away, escaped. Here is Vayavor, is formal passing, there's changing sides. And the Farshim say, we can assume that before that, there was a negotiation, there was an agreement. No, he didn't just came with the army, right? So it's not something that you do. There was a negotiation, an agreement, and then he came and formally joined the Plishtim. What is our judgment on this action? It's really hard to say. When David was with Moab, Hashem told him, you should return to the land of Israel. Here, Hashem doesn't say anything. Actually, in all the chapter, the name of God doesn't appear even once. And this is strange because we saw that before, when David had to take a decision, he asked the Urim and Tumim, he asked the ephod, the Urim and Tumim, he asked Hashem. Here he doesn't ask Hashem. Maybe he knew the answer. You shouldn't go to leave the land of Israel, at least.
He's just a leader.
Or what I think maybe, it's another way to explain that. So there are different things that were written about that. The absence of Hashem here is really noticeable from here to the end of the book. And it's also noticeable we're going to see when Shaul is going before the war with the Plishtim, he is searching ask for Hashem, and he can't find any way. There's no prophets, there's no Urim and Tumim. Hashem is silent from here to the end of the book. And maybe we can compare that to the beginning of the book. In the beginning of the book, it says that the word of Hashem was rare in these times. Before Shmuel, there wasn't prophecy. There wasn't connection with Hashem. Shmuel changed that totally. Shmuel changed that in a way that the prophecy was something very, very common. There was schools of prophets. There were groups of prophets that came and learned with Shmuel. And here again, Hashem is Kivyachol disappearing. He's not answering. He's not communicating with anyone. I would say maybe the same division inside Am Yisrael, it's caused that Hashem is how do you say, disconnect, staying away.
So maybe it was
When Am
division.
Yisrael is not the division between Shaul and David, even though it's not the fault of David, it's still the situation when we are not together, the divine presence cannot stay with that. We learned a little bit about it in the class of Monday in Chassidut. So it says Vayakel, Parashat Vayakel, we're in Parashat Vayakel, and the Sfat Emet explained why Vayakel here, he gathered, he congregate the people. Without congregation, without congregate the people, we cannot build the Mishkan. The Mishkan is a place where Hashem can dwell among us. When Hashem building the Mishkan is bringing the divine presence among us. Without Vayakel, we cannot start building the Mishkan. This is Sfat Emet there. We saw also that without Vayichan Israel Kenegeda, without the union of Am Israel before Matan Torah, we cannot get the Torah. Okay, so also here, when Hashem, when Am Israel is not able to unite, Hashem is staying far away, staying in distance. And this is maybe one of the reasons that we cannot see Hashem in this chapter. David is not asking, Hashem is not answering, not to him and not to Shaul. It's a little bit similar to what we say about Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu was the greatest prophet. He could speak with Hashem whenever he wants, apart from 39 years. All the years after the Chet HaMeraglim, the sin of the spies, until the end of Sefer B'Midbar, there's no communication between Hashem and Moshe. Why? Because Am Yisrael is rejected from Hashem, so also Moshe Rabbeinu cannot. It's not like the leader can be here and the Am Yisrael can be here. If there's no too much distance, there's no prophecy. So I don't know if Moshe chose not to do that or that he couldn't, it doesn't matter, but the idea is that when we have these problems, so the communication with Hashem cannot continue as usual. So we can see here David is not asking Hashem. What he is trying to do is, how do you say, de-escalate, to de-escalate, to level the low of tension between him and Shaul. He understands that it cannot be resolved peacefully. The best thing to do is to disconnect, detach from Shaul. Okay, so he is passing with the 600 soldiers. So it says 600 600 soldiers. But in the next verse, he says, David and his men stayed with Achish in Gath, each with his family. So it's 600 plus families. So we're talking at least, 3,000 people. David with his two wives, Achinoam, the Israelite, and Abigail, wife of Naval, the Carmelite.
What about Michal?
Michal is already married with other people.
Yeah.
Right now, David only has two wives. Later, it's going to be much more.
18, no?
In the end, yeah, according to the Talmud, it says 18. In the Tanakh, we can find, I think, 4 or 5 women. Not sure. Okay, and when Shaul was told that David had fled to God, he did not pursue him anymore. So there was a purpose of David. So taking the wives and the families create two things. First of all, it's trust. You won't take your families to a place of danger unless you don't have any other choice. So bringing the wives is like, I'm trusting your family in your hands. Okay, you can do whatever you want. You know that it was common that kings left prince in other courts. Sometimes were obligated to do that, like a guarantee that you're not going to go to war against me because your children are in my hands. Okay, so it was something that was done. So again, bringing all the family, meaning that is creating a relationship of trust between him and the king of Plishtim. It was part of general plan. We're going to see later that it succeeded also. So he created this connection, this trust with the king of God. The second thing that I can say about bringing the family is that it's create a little bit of problem for the city. If you were in sites of excavations, archaeological excavation, you would see that the cities in the old times were very, very small.
Yeah.
It's like a little village. If you see even Jerusalem, it's relatively big. But if you are going, I don't know, Tzipori, Tveria, places where the old and there is like walls, so it's all the city.
Even the room.
It's very, very, very small. People lived in very, very small spaces. I guess they never stayed in their homes. They always walked in the fields. They only came to home to sleep. But I think also in Europe, you can see like old cities are very, very
small
and stressed. So 3,000 people in a city, it's too much. They cannot stay there. And this is what's going to happen next. David said to Achish, if you please, let a place be granted me in one of the country towns where I can live. Why should your servant remain with you in the royal city? It's meaning Radak say and other Nefoshim say to him, actually, it's going to be too heavy to the people to sustain such a big group of people. It's better to go to other place. But here there is another idea. He preferred not to be too close to the king. It can be danger, especially because the king thinks that he is against Am Israel while he's not. He's only escaping Shaul. So David is going to play here the double game. For one side, he is not against Am Israel. He is always in favor of Am Israel. He's protecting Am Israel. From the other side, he must pretend that it betrayed his people, that he's not with his people anymore. So being too close to the king can create conflict or make him in a test that he could avoid in other places.
Also, when Am Israel left to Egypt in time of Yaakov, they live in Eretz Goshen.
Yeah, also Am Israel didn't want to mix. So also maybe there going to be educational reasons.
Yeah.
I don't want my children to learn from the Plishtim. I don't want to be mixed in the culture of the Plishtim. I want to create my own yeshiva, my own place that is guarded, that we can keep our value. So David doesn't want to stay too close to the king. At that time, Achish granted him Tsiklag. That is how Tsiklag came to belong to the kings of Yehuda, as it's still the case. So this last sentence alludes to some late editing. So this could not be written in the days of David. It says in the kings of Yehuda, I mean in other kings. So it was written much after the days of David. So maybe Anshe Knesset Agdola, it says that the Gemara says that in some places Anshe Knesset Agdola added verses to different books. Or another option that it's also possible is that it's prophecy. Even though it's in the days of David, was written in the days of David, or right after the death of David, the prophet already knew what's going to happen. But the words, Ad Hayom Hazeh, until this day, what day? The day of writing. So it's a little bit, but what does it mean that Tsiklag was to the kings of Judah? So the city of Tsiklag, it's not very clear where it is. Apparently south from Kriyat Gat. It's not very, so we don't really know. There are some estimations or how do you say, asharot, think that, when the investigator is assuming something and then he check it in the experiment. How do you call the first assumption? Hypothesis, yeah. How do you say? Hypothesis. Yeah, so this was, some say that it's in certain places, there are some excavations. Anyway, bottom line, it's not in the Gat, in the royal town, it's somewhere else. This city in the Bible is mentioned as one of the cities of the tribe of Yehuda. When Yeshua divides the land, it belongs to Yehuda, but then Yehuda gave that to Shimon. You remember?
Shimon lived with Yehuda together.
Yeah, so remember we talked about that Sefer Yeshua a few books ago, that Shimon didn't receive part for himself, he received part inside the inheritance of Yehuda. And after that, he quite disappeared. We don't hear about Shimon anymore. He was like mixed inside the tribe of Yehuda.
I think so, the sons of Shimon was Melamdet Tinokot.
Chachamim say, yeah, we talked about that back then. I'm only saying that Tsiklag is one of these cities of Shimon. So what does it mean that it became the city of Yehuda, of the kings of Yehuda? So some say it just returned to the tribe of Yehuda. Some say that it was the personal city of the kings of Yehuda. So they had connections there. It's like was another city of the kingdom. And it's also written in Yosef and Matityahu. Josephus Flavius wrote that the kings of Yehuda owned personally, their family owned the city of Tsiklag. So that became like the base of David until this day.
Kind of city in the mountains that you used to go.
So the length of time that David lived in Palestine territory was a year and 4 months. Philistine territory.
It's not
It
Palestine.
doesn't say territory. In Hebrew, it says Sadeh Plishtim. Sadeh is field, the
Field.
field of Plishtim. But the word Sadeh many times in the Tanakh means places to live outside the big city, like the little towns and the farms
Rural area.
and the tents, people that lived in tents. This is called Sadeh. We have the city and we have the Sadeh, right? So the Sadeh is outside the city, so he lived there for 1 year and 4 months. So in Hebrew it says Yamim ve'arba'a chodeshim. Some say Yamim is a year. We can see that other places in the Torah, in the Tanakh, that Yamim means year. Some says Yamim is 2 days. So according to that, 4 months and 2 days. Two options to understand. Anyway, few months, at least few months. And how did he survive there? What was his parnasah? So David and his men went up and raided the Geshurites, the Gizrites, and the Amalekites, who were the inhabitants of the region of Olam, all the way of Shur and the land of Egypt. So if you're looking from Beersheba south to Egypt, all the south, it's Negev, it's Sinai, all these places, it's the place of the Bedouins, of those who are, how do you say, nomads.
Amalek.
Yeah, so different tribes that were dedicated many times, as we're going to see later in the end of the book, to rob, to kidnap. So the business of the Plishtim, of the Amalekim, of course, the Amalek that we are fighting against, the business apparently, according to some clues in the Bible, was to kidnap people and send them as slaves to Egypt. This was what they were doing. So David was fighting against them and achieving by that two things. First, he protected Am Israel and the Plishtim from these tribes that were problem for everybody. Second, he find his parnasah by doing that. So he's dedicating to fight, to war. So he has this army, and this is what they are doing.
Like a border army, border control.
Yeah. So it is like the gray zone, as we say. The borders weren't as clear as today. It was desert. Nobody controls the desert, and tribes going and back, and
No passport.
and they are robbing and making these actions. So David was one of these tribes, but in a way that is, are we going to see now, is creating his fraud against the king of God. And this is also, like I said, all this is a gray zone morally, all this behavior of David. So there are different judgments. Some say he didn't have a choice, that was the only way to survive. Some criticizing him for that. What he's doing is living on his sword, basically. He's living on his sword. Not only that, let's see the next verse, which is the most problematic. And again, there are different opinions about judgment of this action. When David attacked a region, he would have no man or woman alive. He would take flocks, herds, donkeys, camels, and clothing. And why he didn't leave anyone alive? When he returned and came to Achish, Achish would ask, "Where did you ride today?" So he's returning to Achish. Why? He doesn't live with him. To give him his part, right? He's always have to give like taxes. So Achish would ask, "Where did you raid today? And David would reply, "The Negev of Yehuda, or the Negev of the Yerachmiel, or the Negev of Kenitz." Who are these? Yehuda, Yerachmiel, and Kenite. They are Jews. Kenitz are the sons of Yitro, but they are part of Am Israel. Yerachmieli it's one of the families of the tribe of Yehuda. It's mentioned before, as we say. Yerachmiel, Yehuda, and Keni are tribes of Am Israel, or families of Am Israel. So, did he do that or not? We say that where did he really go? He went to Olam. Olam, you can say from always. Here we translate it as the name of a place. Olam reads Telaim, Tele. I don't know. No,
maybe
no, but yeah. So you can say Me'olam, meaning forever, from always. It's been always living there, or a place. But anyway, we are saying that it's more south. It's south from Beersheba, or south from all this place. And he's saying, so maybe the Negev of Yehuda, the desert of Yehuda, is all this part, right? It's until Elat, until the Elat. So maybe it's the same place, but he didn't attack Am Israel. But the way he's saying that, it sounds like he's going against Am Israel. I went to the Negev of Yehuda, and I take this, meaning I fight against the Jews, which wasn't true. So David here is not really lying, but almost lying. It's like it's called white line. Yeah, it's like a white line, and it worked. And that was and again the Tanakh repeats the idea: David would leave no man or woman alive to be brought to God, for he thought they may tell about us. So that's the reason he killed everybody. He didn't want any witnesses that will tell Achish. Again, how do you judge that? I don't know. We killed everybody, even kids. Nobody stayed alive.
If it's Amalek,
That's what it sounds. It sounds like he killed everybody, so he can continue with his double game. But again, maybe it's against these tribes that were thieves for themselves and robbers for themselves, and also in that way he can protect Am Israel from them. So what he says, he would leave no man or woman alive to be brought to God, for he thought they may tell about us. David did this, such was his practice as long as he stayed in the territory of the Plishtim, meaning more than 1 year. And it worked because Achish trusted David. He thought he has the wrath of his own people Israel, meaning everybody in Israel hating him, and so he will be my vassal forever. So it worked. He could both his trust, and this make David now in a position which is very problematic, because if he's men, the next time there's going to be a war with Am Israel, and it's going to be, because Plishtim and Am Israel always have wars, what side David is going to be. This is exactly what's going to happen in the next chapter. Yeah. So the Hebrew division adds these two verses to our chapter. The Christian division start Kafchet as a new chapter, but the Hebrew one is so it's these two verses belongs or to here or to here. So we just read these two verses and we see this is exactly that David is the test that David going to have. At that time, the Philistines mastered the forces for war to take the field against Israel. So again, another war with Israel. And Plishtim are gathering the forces. Among the forces of the Plishtim, we have David. Achish said to David, you know, of course, that you and your men must march out with my forces. You are my men. What is the answer of David? David answered Achish, you surely know what your servant will do.
It's like way.
What does it mean? What does it mean you surely know what your servant will do?
He didn't say yes.
He didn't say, yeah, exactly. This is the double language that we saw before with Negev Yerachmeeli, Negev Akini, Negev Yehuda, saying something that have double meaning. I mean, the innocent person here is Achish. Achish believed in everything that David said to him. He's not, I know he wasn't clever. David really could create this trust. This is clearly double language. You will see what I do. I may be with you, I may be against you, you will see. No, but what Achish understands, sure, I will be with you. You will see how strong I will be
The Jews survive even
in the war. So Achish trusts David so much, he says, in this case, Achish replied to David, I will appoint you my bodyguard for life. It's like
the life going to be short.
What really David wanted to do, it's not clear here. It doesn't say. We're going to see later what's going to happen. But this is clearly show us that David is speaking double language, but that he could totally buy the trust of Achish. Okay, I think we will stop here.
Next one is Shmuel pass away.
Yeah, we already passed away. It starts with Saul passed away only to remind us the problem of prophecy, of lack of prophecy. The next chapter we're going to see that. Okay, shkoyach.